You know that feeling when you walk into a restaurant in an English-speaking country and suddenly your mind just goes blank? Yeah, I've been there. And I know so many of you have too. You've studied English, you know the words, but when that server comes up to your table with that friendly smile, everything you learned just kind of disappears. Well, not anymore. Because today we're going to walk through exactly what happens at a restaurant, from the moment you step through that door until you pay the bill and leave. And I'm going to teach you the real phrases that native speakers actually use, not the stuff from textbooks that nobody really says. So let me paint you a picture. You're walking down the street, maybe you're visiting New York or Los Angeles or anywhere in the US, and you're hungry. You see this nice restaurant, looks good, and you think, okay, I'm going to go in there and order in English. Your heart starts beating a little faster, right? That's totally normal. But here's the thing. Restaurant conversations follow a pattern. Once you know that pattern, once you know what to expect, it becomes so much easier. It's like having a map. You know where you're going. Let's start right at the beginning. You walk in the door. Now, in most American restaurants, especially the sit-down ones, you don't just go find a table yourself. There's usually a host or hostess standing near the entrance. This is the person who's going to seat you, and they're almost always going to say the same thing. They'll say, "Hi, how many?" or "Hello, how many in your party?" Party doesn't mean like a birthday party here. It just means your group. So if it's just you, you say just one. If it's you and your friend, you say two or table for two. Super simple. Sometimes they might ask, do you have a reservation? If you called ahead and booked a table, you say, yes, under, and then you give them the name. So like, yes, under Sarah. Or yes, the reservation is under John. If you didn't make a reservation, you just say, no, we don't. Is that okay? Or no, how long is the wait? Because sometimes popular restaurants make you wait a little bit before a table is ready. Now here's a little tip. If you want to sit in a specific area, this is the time to ask. You could say, could we sit by the window? Or, do you have any tables outside? Or even, could we get a booth? A booth is one of those cozy table setups with the high backs and the cushioned seats on both sides. A lot of people love booths. They feel more private. The host might say yes, or they might say, let me see what I can do. That means they'll try, but they can't promise anything. Okay, so now you're being walked to your table. The host will usually say something like, right this way, or follow me. You just walk behind them. They'll show you to your seat, and usually they'll say, your server will be right with you, or someone will be with you in just a moment. And then they might hand you menus, or the menus might already be on the table. Now you're sitting down, take a breath. You're doing great. This is the part where you get a minute to look at the menu. And let me tell you, American menus can be overwhelming. They're often really long with tons of options. You've got appetizers, which are the small dishes you eat before the main meal. Some people call them starters. Then you've got entrees, which is the main course. And yeah, I know in some countries entree means appetizer, but in the US, entree means the main dish. Confusing, I know. Then there are sides, which are the extra things like fries or salad or vegetables that come with your meal or that you can order separately. And of course, desserts at the end. While you're looking at the menu, your server is going to come over. And almost always, the first thing they do is introduce themselves and ask about drinks. They'll say something like, hi, I'm Mike, I'll be taking care of you today. Can I start you off with something to drink? Or, hi there, I'm Jessica. What can I get you to drink? This is your moment to order a beverage. You could say, I'll have a Coke. Or, can I get an iced tea? Or, just water is fine, thanks. If you want water, by the way, it's usually free in the US, and they'll often bring it to you without you even asking. Now here's something that might surprise you. Your server might ask, is Pepsi okay? If you ordered a Coke but the restaurant only has Pepsi, or vice versa, it's not a big deal. You just say yes, or actually, I'll have something else instead. Another thing they might ask is, would you like lemon with that? If you order water or iced tea. Lemon is really common in drinks here. Just say yes, please, or no, thank you. Sometimes the server will also tell you about specials. Specials are dishes that aren't on the regular menu. Maybe the chef is trying something new, or maybe they got some really fresh fish that day. The server might say, "Our special today is grilled salmon with roasted vegetables," or "We have a soup of the day, which is tomato basil." You don't have to order the specials. They're just giving you more options. If you're interested, you can ask questions like, "What comes with that?" or "How big is the portion?" Portion means the size of the serving. All right, so you've ordered your drink, and now the server usually gives you a few minutes to decide on your food. They'll say, "I'll give you a minute to look over the menu," or "Take your time, I'll be back." This is when you really dive into that menu. And look, if you don't understand something on the menu, it's totally okay to ask. When the server comes back, you can point to the item and say, "What's in this?" or "How is this prepared?" Prepared means cooked or made. Is it spicy? Is it fried? These are all normal questions. Servers expect them. They want you to order something you'll enjoy. When you're ready to order, you can catch your server's attention. Usually they're checking on you anyway, but if you need them, you can make eye contact and maybe raise your hand a little. Not like you're in school or anything, just a small gesture. When they come over, they'll say, "Are you ready to order?" or "What can I get for you?" And this is your time to shine. Let's say you want to order an appetizer first. You'd say, "We'd like to start with the mozzarella sticks, please," or "Can we get the spinach dip for the table?" For the table means everyone's going to share it. If you're ordering just for yourself, you say, "I'll have," or "I'd like." So, "I'll have the Caesar salad," or "I'd like the burger." Easy, right? Now here's where it gets a little more detailed. Your server is probably going to ask you some follow-up questions. If you order a burger, they might ask, "How would you like that cooked?" They're asking about how done you want the meat. Your options are rare, which is very pink in the middle, medium rare, which is a little pink medium, which is slightly pink medium well, which is just a tiny bit pink, or well done, which is fully cooked through with no pink. Most people order medium or medium rare, but you choose what you like. If you don't eat your meat very cooked, you can just say, "Well done, please." If you order a sandwich or a burger, they'll also ask, "What side would you like with that?" Or, "Would you like fries, coleslaw, or a salad?" You just pick one. "I'll have the fries." Or, "Can I get the salad instead?" Sometimes you can substitute things. Like if it comes with fries but you want vegetables instead, you can ask, "Can I substitute vegetables for the fries?" Most places will say yes, though sometimes there's a small extra charge. Here's another common question. If you order a salad, they'll ask, "What dressing would you like?" Dressing is the sauce you put on salad. Common ones are ranch, Italian, Caesar, balsamic vinaigrette, blue cheese, Thousand Island. If you don't know what they are, you can ask, "What dressings do you have?" and they'll list them. You can even ask, "What do you recommend?" People do this all the time. Or you can say, "Dressing on the side, please." That means they bring the dressing in a separate little container, so you can pour on as much or as little as you want. If you order breakfast, and yeah, a lot of American restaurants serve breakfast all day, you'll get even more questions. How do you want your eggs? You can say scrambled, which is all mixed up. Fried, which is cooked in a pan. You can get them sunny side up, which means the yolk is on top and runny. Over easy, which means they flip it but the yolk is still runny. Over medium, a little more cooked. Over hard, yolk is fully cooked. And there's poached, which is cooked in water. I know, it's a lot. But you just pick the one you like. And if you don't know, you can ask, "What's the difference between over easy and scrambled?" Servers are used to explaining. Oh, and toast. If your breakfast comes with toast, they'll ask white, wheat, or sourdough. Those are types of bread. White is regular white bread. Wheat is whole wheat, a little healthier. Sourdough is that tangy, chewy bread. Just pick one. And then they might ask, "Would you like butter and jam with that?" You can say yes or no. Let me tell you about something else that happens a lot. Modifications. That means changing something about the dish. Americans do this constantly. It's super normal. You can say, "Can I get that without onions?" Or "No tomatoes, please," or "Can you put the sauce on the side?" Or even, "Can I add avocado to that?" Some changes are free, some cost a little extra. The server will tell you if there's an extra charge. Don't be shy about asking for what you want. Restaurants are used to it. One more thing about ordering. If you're vegetarian or vegan, or you have allergies, definitely speak up. You can say, "I'm vegetarian, do you have any meatless options?" Or, I'm allergic to shellfish. Does this dish have any shrimp or crab in it? Or, I'm gluten-free. Can you tell me what I can eat? Most restaurants now are really good about accommodating dietary restrictions. They want you to have a safe, enjoyable meal. Okay, so you've ordered everything. Your server is probably going to repeat your order back to you to make sure they got it right. So that's one burger, medium with fries and a Coke. Right? You just nod and say, yes, that's right. Or if they got something wrong, you say, actually, I wanted the salad instead of fries. No problem. They'll fix it. Then they'll take your menus and head to the kitchen. And now you wait. This is a good time to chat with whoever you're with, check your phone, whatever. In the US, waiting times can vary. If the restaurant is busy, it might take a bit longer. But usually your food comes in about 15 to 20 minutes for lunch or dinner. Breakfast is often faster. While you're waiting, your server will probably check on you. They might come by and say, how are we doing? You doing okay? They're just making sure you don't need anything. You can say, we're good, thanks. Or if you need something like a refill on your drink, you can say, could I get more water? Or can I have another Coke? In a lot of American restaurants, soft drink refills are free. You can have as many as you want. They'll just keep filling your glass. Now, when your food arrives, the server will bring it to the table and usually say something like, all right, I have the burger and the grilled chicken. Who had the burger? They want to make sure they give the right dish to the right person. You just say, that's me, or I did. They'll set it down in front of you. And then, this is important, they almost always say, careful, the plate is hot. Listen to them. Those plates can be really hot. Don't touch. Then they'll usually ask, can I get you anything else? Ketchup, hot sauce, more napkins? This is your chance to ask for anything you need. You might say, could I get some extra napkins? Or, do you have hot sauce? Or, we're good, thank you. And then they'll say, enjoy your meal. Or enjoy, you can say thank you. Now you start eating, and here's hoping everything is the way you wanted it. But sometimes, things aren't quite right. Maybe your burger is more well done than medium. Maybe the soup is cold. Maybe they forgot to leave the onions off. If something is wrong, it's okay to say something. You're paying for this meal. You should enjoy it. If your server comes back and asks, how is everything? Or how's your meal? This is the time to speak up. If everything is great, you say, it's delicious, thanks, or really good. But if something is wrong, you can say, actually, this burger is a little more cooked than I wanted. Could I get another one? Or, I think my soup is cold. Can you warm it up? Say it politely, but be clear. Most servers will immediately apologize and fix the problem. They might take the dish back to the kitchen or bring you a new one. Don't suffer through a meal you're not enjoying. Throughout your meal, the server will check on you a few times. They might refill your drinks without asking. They might clear away empty plates. In the US, servers are usually pretty attentive. Some people find it a bit much if they're from countries where servers leave you alone more. But it's just how it's done here. They want to make sure you have a good experience. All right, you've finished your main course. You're probably getting full. The server will come by and see your empty or mostly empty plate and ask, are you finished with this? Or, can I take this for you? If you're done, say, yes, please, or yes, thank you. If you're still picking at it, say, I'm still working on it. That's a common phrase here. It means you're not done yet. They'll leave it and come back later. Now comes one of my favorite parts, dessert. Once your plates are cleared, the server will often ask, did you save room for dessert? Or, would you like to see the dessert menu? If you're too full, you can say, no, thank you, I'm stuffed. Stuffed means really full. But if you want dessert, say, yes, please, or what do you have? They'll either bring you a dessert menu or tell you what they have. Chocolate cake, apple pie, ice cream, cheesecake. American desserts are usually pretty big and sweet. You can also share desserts. It's totally normal to say, can we get one slice of cake with 2 forks? Restaurants do this all the time. If you want coffee or tea with dessert, now's the time to order that too. I'll have a coffee, please. Or do you have decaf? Decaf is coffee without caffeine. If you decide you don't want dessert, or after you've had dessert, the next thing that happens is the check. In the US, we call it the check. Some people call it the bill. When you're ready to leave, you can catch your server's attention and say, "Can we get the check, please?" Or, "Could we have the bill?" Or you can make a little writing motion in the air with your hand. Servers recognize that gesture. It means you want the check. The server will bring it to you, usually in a little folder or tray. They'll set it on the table and say, "Here you go," or "No rush," or "Whenever you're ready." No rush means take your time. You don't have to pay immediately. Now, here's something that confuses a lot of people. In the US, the price on the menu is not the final price. There's tax added on top, and you're also expected to tip. Let me break this down. Tax varies by state and city. It's usually somewhere between 5 and 10%. It gets added to your total automatically. So if your meal was $20, with tax it might be $22. You'll see it on the check. Then there's the tip. In the US, tipping is not optional. I know in some countries it's not expected, but here it's a huge part of how servers make their living. They often get paid very low hourly wages because tips are expected to make up the difference. A standard tip is 15 to 20% of the bill before tax. If the service was great, you might leave 20% or even more. If the service was okay, 15% is fine. If the service was really bad, you could leave less, but that's rare. How do you calculate the tip? Here's an easy way. Look at the total before tax. Let's say it's $50. 20% of 50 is $10, so you'd leave a $10 tip. If you're not good at math in your head, most phones have calculators. Or honestly, a lot of people just round up. If the bill is $47, they might leave a $50 bill and say keep the change. That's about a 6% tip though, so that's a bit low. You'd want to leave more. Some restaurants, especially for large groups, add the tip automatically. It's called gratuity. You'll see it on the check. It might say gratuity included or automatic 18% service charge. If that's there, you don't need to add more tip. It's already done. But check your bill. If it's not included, you need to add it. So how do you pay? There are a few ways. If you're paying with cash, you just put the cash in the little folder with the check. You can leave enough to cover the bill. Plus tip. The server will come back, take the cash, and bring you your change. If you want to keep all the change, you wait for them to bring it. If the change is your tip, you can just leave it on the table and go. Or you can wait for the server to come back and hand it to them and say, "Thank you, keep the change." If you're paying with a card, you put your card in the folder. The server will take it, run it through their system, and bring it back with a receipt for you to sign. There will be a line on the receipt where you write in the tip amount. So let's say your bill was $50. You write in $10 for the tip on the tip line. Then below that, there's a total line. You add 50 plus 10 and write $60. Then you sign it. One copy is for the restaurant, one is for you. Take your copy and your card. More and more now, restaurants are using those little tablet devices on the table. You can pay right there without waiting for the server. You follow the prompts on the screen. It'll ask you to select a tip percentage, usually with buttons like 15%, 18%, 20%, or custom if you want to enter your own amount. Then you insert or tap your card and you're done. It's pretty convenient. One thing I want to mention, splitting the check. If you're with friends and everyone wants to pay for their own meal, you can ask, "Can we split the check?" Or "Can we get separate checks?" It's easier to ask this at the beginning of the meal or when you order, but servers can usually do it at the end too. Some restaurants will split it evenly. If there are 4 of you, they divide the total by 4. But if you want to pay for exactly what you ordered, you can say, "Can we each pay for what we had?" Most places can do this, though if it's a really complicated order, it might take a minute. Also, if you're on a date or with family and you want to pay for everyone, you can just take the check and pay before anyone else has a chance. Or you can say to your server quietly, "I'll take care of the check," so the other person doesn't even see it. That's a nice gesture. Okay, you've paid, you've tipped, and now you're ready to leave. You can just get up and go. You don't need to say anything to the server, though if you see them you can say, "Thank you, it was great," or "Have a good day." As you walk out, if you pass the host's stand, you might hear, "Thank you, have a great day." You can say, "You too, thanks." And that's it, you did it. You navigated an entire restaurant experience in English. Now let me give you some extra tips and phrases that might come up. Sometimes you might need a to-go box or a doggy bag. That's a container to take your leftover food home. If you didn't finish your meal, you can ask, "Could I get a box for this?" Or, "Can I have a to-go container?" The server will bring you one. You can pack it up yourself, or sometimes they'll offer to do it for you in the kitchen. Taking food home is super common in the US because portions are often huge. If you order something and you want it to go from the start, meaning you're not eating in the restaurant, you say, "Can I get this to go?" Or, "I'd like this for takeout." Takeout means you're taking the food with you. Another thing, if you're waiting for someone and they haven't arrived yet, the server might ask, "Are you waiting for someone?" You can say, "Yes, I'm waiting for one more person." Or, "Yes, my friend should be here soon." They might offer to bring you a drink while you wait. You can say yes or, "I'll wait until they get here, thanks." If you need to use the restroom, you can ask your server or the host, "Where's the restroom?" Or, "Where's the bathroom?" They'll point you in the right direction. Don't say toilet. I mean, people will understand, but restroom or bathroom is more polite in the US. What if the restaurant is too cold or too loud and you want to move? You can ask, "Is it possible to sit somewhere else?" Or, "Would it be okay if we move to a different table?" Be polite about it, and usually they'll accommodate you if they can. If you're in a hurry, you can let your server know. You can say, "We're in a bit of a rush, so we'll order everything at once." Or, "We need to leave by 1 o'clock, just so you know." Servers appreciate the heads up. They'll try to move things along for you. Here's another scenario. What if you see something on someone else's table and you want to know what it is? You can ask your server, "What's that dish over there?" Or, "That looks good, what is that?" And they'll tell you. It's a totally normal question. Oh, and if you want a recommendation, ask. Servers usually know the menu really well. You can say, "What do you recommend?" Or, "What's your favorite dish here?" Or, "What's popular?" People ask this all the time. It's a great way to decide if you're overwhelmed by choices. Let's talk about drinks for a second. If you want alcohol, like beer or wine or a cocktail, you need to be 21 in the US. The server might ask to see your ID, especially if you look young. They'll say, "Can I see your ID?" You just show them your driver's license or passport. If you don't have it, they won't serve you alcohol. It's the law. When ordering alcohol, you might say, "Can I see the beer menu?" Or, "What wines do you have by the glass?" By the glass means you're ordering one glass, not a whole bottle. If you want a cocktail, you just say the name, "I'll have a margarita." Or, "Can I get a mojito?" If you don't know what to order, you can ask, "What cocktails are popular?" Or, "Do you have a drink menu?" If you don't drink alcohol, that's totally fine. You can order a mocktail, which is a cocktail without alcohol. Or just stick with soda, juice, iced tea, lemonade, whatever you like. Okay, what about fast food or casual places? The process is a bit different. At fast food restaurants like McDonald's or Burger King, you order at the counter. You walk up and the person will say, "What can I get for you?" Or, "Welcome, how can I help you?" You tell them what you want. "I'll have a Big Mac, large fries, and a Coke." They'll ask, "Is that for here or to go?" For here means you're eating in the restaurant. To go means you're taking it with you. You answer and they'll tell you the total. You pay right there. They give you a receipt with a number, and you wait for them to call your number or bring the food to you. At places like Chipotle or Subway, you go down the line and build your meal. The workers will ask you questions as you go. What kind of bread? What protein? What toppings? You just point and say what you want. It's very interactive. And you pay at the end of the line. Coffee shops like Starbucks have their own system. You order at the counter. The barista will ask, "What can I get started for you?" You say your drink, "I'll have a grand latte." Grand is their medium size. Tall is small, grand is medium, venti is large. I know it's confusing. They'll ask, "Anything else?" You can say, "No, that's it," or add a pastry or something. Then you pay and they write your name on the cup. They'll call your name when your drink is ready. At coffee shops and fast food places, tipping is less expected. There's usually a tip jar at the counter. You can throw in your change if you want, but it's not required like it is at sit-down restaurants. Let me give you some troubleshooting phrases. What if your order is wrong? You say, "Excuse me, I ordered the grilled chicken, but this is fried." Or, "I asked for no cheese, but there's cheese on this." Say it calmly. They'll fix it. What if you drop your fork or need extra napkins? Just flag down your server and say, "Could I get another fork?" Or, "Can I have some more napkins?" Easy. What if you want to order more food after you've already eaten? Just tell your server, "We'd like to order another appetizer." Or, "Can we get another round of drinks?" No problem. What if the food is taking forever? You can politely ask, "Do you know how much longer our food will be?" Or, "We've been waiting a while, could you check on our order?" Most servers will apologize and find out what's going on. What if you need to cancel your order? Maybe you ordered something and then realized you don't want it. If the food hasn't come out yet, tell your server, actually, "Can we cancel that last item?" They'll probably say yes. What if you spill something? Don't panic, just let your server know. "Excuse me, I spilled my water, could we get some towels?" Or, "I'm so sorry, I knocked over my drink." They'll clean it up. It happens all the time. What if you're not sure what something means on the menu? Ask, "What does 86 mean?" That means they're out of it. What's the difference between grilled and blackened? Blackened is a Cajun cooking style with spices. What is yoli? It's a fancy mayo-based sauce. Don't be embarrassed to ask. It's better to know what you're ordering. What about breakfast? Let me give you some specific breakfast phrases. If you go to a diner, and diners are those classic American breakfast places, you'll hear some unique language. Your server might ask, "What kind of potatoes?" You can get hash browns, which are shredded and fried, or home fries, which are cubed potatoes. They might ask, "White or wheat toast?" I covered that earlier. They might ask, "Do you want bacon, sausage, or ham?" Those are the meat options. You pick one. If you order pancakes, they'll ask, "Would you like butter and syrup?" Of course you do. They'll bring it to the table. Sometimes they ask, "Blueberry or chocolate chip?" because they can add stuff to the pancakes. For omelets, they'll ask, "What do you want in it?" You can say cheese, mushrooms, and peppers, or whatever you like. They'll ask, "What kind of cheese?" Cheddar, Swiss, American, feta. Pick one. Breakfast is honestly one of my favorite meals to order in English because there's so much delicious food, and once you know the questions they're going to ask, it's so easy. All right, let's talk about some cultural things. In the US, it's normal to chat a little with your server. They might ask, "How are you today?" And you say, "Good, how are you?" It's just polite small talk. They might comment on the weather or ask if you've been to the restaurant before. You don't have to have a long conversation, but a little friendliness goes a long way. Also, Americans tend to be pretty casual. You don't need to be super formal. You can be polite and respectful without being stiff. Saying please and thank you is important, but you don't need to say sir or ma'am constantly unless you want to. Eye contact is good. Smiling is good. If you're confused or need help, just ask. Americans generally appreciate directness. One more thing. If you're dining with Americans, they might have some habits that seem different. Like, they might start eating as soon as their food arrives, even if not everyone at the table has their food yet. In some cultures, you wait for everyone. In the US, it's often, "Go ahead and start so your food doesn't get cold." If you're not sure, just wait and see what others do. Also, Americans tend to eat relatively quickly compared to some other cultures. A meal might take an hour, maybe an hour and a half if it's a special occasion. But it's not the 3-hour affair you might have in some European countries. That's just a cultural difference. Oh, and here's something. If you're eating with your hands, like a burger or pizza or fries, that's totally normal. You don't need a fork and knife for everything. Do what feels comfortable. Now, let me give you a few more advanced tips. What if you're at a really nice, fancy restaurant? The process is similar, but there are a few differences. You'll definitely need a reservation. You'll probably want to dress a little nicer. The menu might be more complicated, with ingredients or cooking techniques you don't recognize. It's okay to ask the server to explain things. In fact, at nice restaurants, servers are often very knowledgeable and happy to guide you. You might have multiple courses. An appetizer, a soup or salad, the main course, maybe a palate cleanser, dessert, coffee. It's a whole experience. Don't rush it. The server might pair wines with your food. They'll say, "May I suggest a wine pairing?" You can say yes or no. If you say yes, they'll recommend wines that go with each course. It's more expensive, but it's a nice treat. At fancy restaurants, there might be weird silverware. Multiple forks, multiple spoons. Here's the rule. Start from the outside and work your way in. The outermost fork is for your first course. The next one is for the next course, and so on. If something is too fancy or you don't understand it, it's still okay to ask. Even at a 5-star restaurant, you can say, "I'm not familiar with this. Can you explain it?" Good servers want you to enjoy the experience. All right, we're almost done. Let me leave you with some final thoughts. Learning to navigate a restaurant in English is such a valuable skill. It's not just about the language, it's about confidence. It's about feeling like you belong. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. My advice: start small. Go to a casual place first. Order something simple. Practice the phrases. Listen to how the server talks. You'll start to pick up patterns. Then next time, try something a little more challenging. Order something with modifications. Ask questions. Push yourself a bit. And remember, everyone working in that restaurant wants you to have a good time. They want you to enjoy your meal. They're not judging your English. They're just trying to help you. So relax, be polite, be clear, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. One last thing, if you mess up, if you say the wrong word or you don't understand something, it's okay. Just laugh it off. Say, "Sorry, can you repeat that?" Or, "I didn't catch that." Nobody's perfect. Communication is about getting your point across, not about being perfect. I really hope this has been helpful. I hope the next time you walk into a restaurant, you feel ready. You've got this. You know what to expect. You know what to say. And you're going to order a delicious meal in English and enjoy every bite. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and practice. Try it in real life, and let me know how it goes. Happy eating, everyone.